Hey City Life kids, do you have a really good memory? Well, let's find out. Do you remember last week's lesson from Matthew 22 when the religious leaders tried to trick Jesus? One question they tried to trick him with was, which command in the law is the greatest? Do you remember what Jesus said? If you haven't seen last week's lesson, you can stop and do that now, then come back to this one. Jesus told the religious leaders in Matthew 22, verse 37 and 39, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. This is the greatest command. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus told us love is important. It can be easy to love ourselves, but hard to love others first. But we know to obey Jesus and his command because they come from God. He is a perfect prophet. That reminds me of our memory verse. Let's say it together. Deuteronomy 18:15. "The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken." Deuteronomy 18:15. Let's hearken or listen to the words of God's perfect prophet from Matthew chapter 23. One day, Jesus spoke to the crowds of people and his followers. He said, "The religious leaders tell you about God's law that came through Moses. You should obey this law." Then he continued, "But do not be like the religious leaders, because they tell you to do one thing, but they don't do it themselves. They make up hard rules for you to follow, but they do not follow their own rules." The religious leaders, scribes and Pharisees, believed the right things, but they were doing something wrong. Jesus said that the religious leaders did everything so that people would think that they were great. They liked being seen and noticed, and they liked to have all the attention. They wanted to be called teacher by others. "You have one teacher," Jesus reminded them, "and you are all brothers and sisters. You have one Father, God, who is in heaven. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted." Jesus warns the religious leaders. It will be terrible for you leaders who keep people away from God's kingdom. You convince people to follow you, but you lead them away from God. You care more about following rules than showing justice, mercy, faithfulness. Jesus said the religious leaders looked clean on the outside, but were dirty on the inside. You were like a beautifully decorated tomb, but the inside is full of bones and unclean things. Finally, Jesus said to the scribes and Pharisees, "You are like a family of poisonous snakes. Do you think you will escape God's judgment? No, you will be punished." Jesus used the religious leaders' lack of love for others as a warning to his followers. Jesus said that the greatest commandments are to love God and love others, but religious leaders loved themselves most of all. So they may have looked like they were doing the right thing on the outside, but Jesus said that they looked like a dirty tomb or grave on the inside. They did not have a new heart through faith in Jesus. When we trust in Jesus, he makes us right with God and changes our hearts so that we want to love and obey him.